Good morning, beloveds. It is March 31st. Today, we officially say goodbye to this book. There's one day that I didn't do, which is February 29th, because there wasn't a February 29th. So I may go back and do that one, but if I do that one, I'll probably do it on the Running Rev just so that I have it. And then I will archive it on the Running Rev Ryan YouTube channel. But we are officially saying goodbye to this book, and we will be starting a book called Beyond Appearances. And what this one is this one is a collection of practitioners and ministers writing for the Science of Mind. It's the daily guides from the Science of Mind, but it's a collection. So it was suggested by Reverend Jesse. I'm excited about it, and we will see what it looks like. And I actually do know some of these names. So that'll be exciting. But yeah. All right. We'll start that. But last day of 365 Days of Richer Living. So, March 31st, our title is, I am joyful in the joy of God. Our quote is, Thou hast made known to me the way of life. Thou shalt make me full of joy with thy countenance. And that is Acts 2:28. Emerson says that prayer is the proclamation of a joyful and a beholding soul. And throughout the Bible, we find so many references to the joy of God and the gladness that we should have in God's presence. How can we help being glad and filled with joy if we believe that the presence and the power back of everything is one perfect life, forever giving of itself, forever flowing through us in wondrous light and power? Jesus said that if the multitude did not break forth in song, the very stones would be compelled to, by which he means that all nature is alive and awake and aware with the divine presence, and that all nature and everything in life responds to the song in the heart of the heart. Therefore, today I am filled with joy. Let every sense of depression or heaviness depart from my mind. Let my soul be lifted up in song to the giver of all life and to the joy of living. Joy shall accompany me like a companion, and happiness shall be to me like a comrade. There is a song in my heart, singing unto the Creator of all things. There is an invisible chorus responding through everything in nature, through every person I meet. For today I am meeting everything with joy and happiness, with song and laughter, with gladness of heart. I proclaim this day to be one of happiness, of thanksgiving, and of praise to the Most High God, to the divine presence that inhabits eternity and finds a dwelling place in my own soul. Today I express joy and gratitude to this inner presence, and this presence in which I am enveloped is one living spirit of color and responsiveness. My spirit in my heaven and my spirit in every other person's heaven, the author of joy, of peace, and wholeness. It's kind of a heck of a note to go out on. I don't know. I think I'm just reflecting on the idea of being joyful to be alive. And there are people that are, and there are people that aren't. And it's interesting when you think about who is and why, because you don't have to have a reason to be joyful. You can be joyful for no reason at all. And that's my favorite kind of joy. Because if you have a reason to be joyful, then it can be taken away from you. But then you meet other people who take absolutely no joy in living, which reminds me of my grandmother. She lived until she was 81. And according to her children, she started dying as soon as her husband did. Now, my mother was 12. when my grandfather died, and he died unexpectedly. He died of an aneurysm, and this was back in the I think the early to mid 60s, probably the mid 60s, and my grandmother was never truly happy after that, but she did make small spaces for joy. When she was with us, you could see that she was sad, but when she was with us, she was also, she made those small spaces for joy. I don't know. Because sometimes when you read stuff like this and you're like, well, I should be happy all the time because I'm alive. And then you reflect on situations like that and you wonder, it's like, I don't know. It's just something to think about. It's kind of it's like I just read all that happy stuff and I'm contemplating my grandmother because I'm wondering how it could have been better for her, and would there have been anything that anybody could have done? No. I mean, she would have had to have done it herself. Huh. Okay. This is a strange notion of contemplation, which makes me wonder if my grandmother's birthday is coming up, because I think it is, and that may be why she came to my mind. Okay, so March 31st. I am joyful in the joy of God, because God doesn't need a reason to be joyful, because God is joy. Okay, so when we don't have our joy, when we have lost our joy, then what we can do is go within, tap into that infinite joy and bring that forward, which is, I am grateful that it is a skill that I have learned, and it's a skill that I hope that I can pass on, so that even when life gets a little or a lot, as I like to say, messy, then we know where we can go within and say, okay, well, here, let me find some joy in this world. Let me find some joy in this world. And if I can find some joy, then maybe I can find a lot of joy. Because even when we lose people, Ernest has made it clear that there's a promise that we'll see them again. So, thou hast made known to me the ways of life. Thou shalt make me full of joy with thy countenance. Acts 2:28. Make of it what you will. So Emerson says that prayer is the proclamation of a joyful and a beholding soul. It's about knowing who we are and knowing our source, beholding soul. And throughout the Bible, we find so many references to the joy of God and the gladness that we should have in God's presence. And the truth is, we're always in God's presence. There's never a time we are not in God's presence, because everything is made of, from, and by God and for God. So, how can we help but being glad and filled with joy if we believe that the presence and the power back of everything is one perfect life, forever giving of itself, forever flowing through us in wondrous light and power? And I think that's what got my contemplation is if we have a reason to be happy, if we have a reason to be joyful, it can be taken away. And so therein lies the power of cultivating joy for joy's sake, just for the purpose of being happy, for the purpose of being joyful, not having a reason, because then the reason can't be taken away from us. Which is why I was thinking about my grandmother. It's like, and I get it. I mean, trust me, I have a partner. I adore my partner. My life would be radically different without my partner. I understand that. But my partner cannot be my reason for joy. He can be part of it, but he can't be all of it, because then my life will stop if he does. Harsh truth. All right. Jesus said that if the multitude did not break forth in song, the very stones would be compelled to, by which he meant that all nature is alive and awake and aware with the divine presence, and that all nature and everything in life responds to the song in the heart. So sometimes we forget to sing the song in the heart. And that is what true friendship can do for you, is when you forget your song, they sing it back to you. It's like the people who know you well, who love you well, they know your song. And when you forget your song, they come and sing it back to you until you can sing it again. It's a beautiful notion. It's a beautiful notion. It's also another way of us holding, when we talk about being practitioner and holding space for you until you can hold it yourself. It's the same thing. It's like, we know your song. We learn your song. And then when you forget your song, because life has gotten messy and, just, which it does, then we sing your song back to you until you can sing it yourself again. So, therefore, today I am filled with joy. Let every sense of depression or heaviness depart from my mind. Let every sense of heaviness and depression depart from my mind. And again, this is not a spiritual bypass. This is because we have things that are heavy. We carry things that are heavy. And it is appropriate to feel those. What we can't let them do is drag us down to where we are no longer living. And let my soul be lifted in song to the giver of all life and to the joy of living. Because living is a gift. And we don't know what's on the other side of living. We know that there is something on the other side of living. No, I'm not even sure we know that. Ernest states it as a fact. But we believe, we have faith that there is something on the other side. And that we'll be together again. So, therefore, we are allowed to have joy in this life, even when life has gotten messy. All right. Joy shall accompany me like a companion, and happiness shall be to me as a comrade. There is a song in my heart, singing unto the Creator of all things, and there is an invisible chorus responding through everything in nature. And I mean, it's springtime right now. That it's not an invisible chorus. Go outside, see the fresh yellow and greens that the trees are throwing out. See the flowers that are starting to come up. See the animals and the birds that are just out there singing. The chorus is not invisible right now. The chorus is definitely singing. Through every person I meet, for today I am meeting everything with joy and happiness. And that is one of the secrets. If you want more joy, spread joy. When you meet situations with joy and happiness, then, you bring that in there and it kind of starts to spread, because joy and happiness feel better. And so when somebody brings in joy and happiness, people want that. And so they're willing to accept that most of the time. I mean, you're always going to meet people that, but, don't let them dim your light. So, for today, I'm meeting everything with joy and happiness, with song and laughter, and with the gladness of heart. I proclaim this day to be one of happiness, of thanksgiving, and of praise to the Most High God. And Thanksgiving is a great way to get to joy, because when we're grateful for things, we find reasons to be happy. So, to the divine presence that inhabits eternity and finds a dwelling place in my own soul. Because remember, we don't own our soul. We have individualized a small, tiny little piece of the oversoul, the great soul, the only soul there is. Today, I express joy and gratitude to this inner presence, and this presence in which I am enveloped is the one living spirit of color and responsiveness, which I think is an interesting turn of phrase. One living spirit of color and responsiveness. It's not black and white. It's color. And it responds to us. And it is every color out there that we can imagine. My spirit in my heaven and my spirit in every other person's heaven. The author of joy, of peace, and of wholeness. All right. So if you haven't heard the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to express joy and gratitude. To express joy and gratitude. To bring happiness into the situation. And that might seem like a challenge because I know it's Thursday and all of us got to go to work or are already at work or will be, headed there soon. But if we can bring in joy and we can bring in happiness with us, the day goes a little bit better or a lot better, depending. Especially if we can be contagious with our joy and happiness. So, all right, beloveds, that is your mission today. And the other thing that I always suggest, because a great way to get in touch with that song in your heart, with that divine presence, is spiritual practice. So I'm going to suggest my favorite spiritual practice, which is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. You can make it one thing, you can make it 3 different things. The point is to do something. And it can be as big or as small as you want. Because frequently when we do loving, kind, compassionate things for ourselves, it kind of filters to the people around us. And so, there was a follow-up thought. It's gone. Oh, right. But what I'm encouraging you to do is to create a habit, to create a default setting, to create a first response. If you can do loving, kind, and compassionate things for yourself, and you can respond in loving, kind, and compassionate ways, no matter what is happening, then that is the way we make a world that works for everybody. If our first response is loving, kind, and compassionate, things will just work out better. Honest. And when I say loving, when I say kind, when I say compassionate, that includes the word no. All right? Because loving, kindness, and compassion is not always about yes. Because frequently people will ask us for stuff, and it is not loving or kind or compassionate for us to say yes to that. Sometimes we have to say no. All right. So let me remind you, when I am encouraging you to do loving, kind, compassionate things for yourself, it includes the word no. And no is a full sentence. If you say no, you do not owe an explanation. You may choose to give an explanation, but you don't have to, because that is loving, kind, and compassionate for yourself. All right. I just occasionally want to remind you of the logistics of loving, kind, and compassionate, but it does include the word no. All right. I am going to move on into the process of my day, but I am going to encourage you, as I always do, to do something to engage your mind and your body, to go get that early morning sun. We had that weather yesterday, and it's beautiful today because the weather also, it cooled off. So it was really nice because it was stuffy yesterday, which is probably part of the reason why I had that migraine yesterday. With the weather. So go get that sun, drink plenty of water, and open the windows of your soul. Allow that breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. And as we have been told in the reading today, that presence is in our heaven. So it is up to us to allow ourselves to see the good. And the best way to do it, Emma's got it. Look for the good and praise it. Look for the good and praise it. All right, beloveds. I'm going to encourage you to take care of yourself. Have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a sunny day. a cooler day, a spring day, a magical day, an enchanting day, a good day. If that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased always and forever. And this is a state of grace that we live in. Doesn't have to be earned, can't be taken away. All right. Catch us on the social medias. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark. I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. And we will start a new book tomorrow. All right, beloveds. Have a fantastic, this year, right now it's Thursday. So have a fantastic Thursday. Know that you're loved. Know that Reverend David will be on with you around 5 p.m. and I'll be back with you at 9 a.m. So, until next time.